Well, I definitely said screw the month of November, and now part of December. But you know what? The best things always come back after a little bit of time, just like N.E.R.D's newest album. But we'll get to that pretty soon. That's right, if you're watching this, you are now viewing another episode of Megan's Music Mondays. I'm back. Hey everyone, with New Year's coming around the corner and Christmas coming even sooner, like next week type of soon, I just knew I had to come back and share a couple of my favorites with you all before I give an overall review of my favorites for 2017. And if you haven't seen my 2016 review, you should go check that out because it was around New Year's last year when I kind of started this whole Megan's Music Mondays thing. So, anywhoozes, let's get into this week's music. Because guys, a whole bunch of gems were dropped upon us this weekend, but you already know which ones that I'm probably gonna review. Like starting off with N.E.R.D's newest album, No One Ever Really Dies, which is self-titled because that's what N.E.R.D stands for. If you didn't know, now you know. So let's do this. All right guys, let's get into this N.E.R.D album, which is their 5th studio album. And to know me is to know that I truly love N.E.R.D. I am such a big fan. And needless to say, I have been holding my breath, waiting for this album. And it just feels like a girl can breathe again. Because guys, when genius meets artistry, you get this. For those of you who don't know, N.E.R.D is a group consisting of what started off as the Neptunes with just Pharrell and Chad, but they have their other homie named Shay, and when these three get together, it's a work of art. The way that they use their musical production is out of this world. Like Pharrell said in one of his songs on his last album, Girl, what planet did you come from? And are there others like you there? Because who can do this? Nobody else can do this besides N.E.R.D. No one. So before this album, I can't really say that I had a favorite N.E.R.D album because I really do vibe with all of them. Like their first one, In Search Of, and then they had Fly or Die, and then Seeing Sounds was my shit in high school. I remember when that came out, I was jamming that all 2008, 2009. And then they had their album Nothing, and Nothing was okay, but it was kind of bleak. There were like a few gems in Nothing, but it was nothing spectacular. But for them to come back with this self-titled album, No One Ever Really Dies, it takes the cake. It really does. And I can honestly say that this is probably my favorite N.E.R.D album now. It really is. I don't know if there are any other N.E.R.D fans like me. Go ahead and leave a comment below and let me know if you have a favorite album and what it is. But I'm honestly saying I believe that this album is going to be my favorite. Of course, all the other ones are going to be classics because, I mean, I'm still jamming to Lap Dance and all that other good stuff. But this album as a whole collective piece is just way too good. All right, so let's get into the tracks because there are 11 songs on this album, and I know 11 doesn't sound like a lot. When I saw it, I was kind of like, oh, 11 songs, I want more. But guys, you couldn't want any more because each one of these tracks is like 5 to 7 minutes long. And when I mean it's a track within a track, it's just bonuses all around. The way they produce the beats for this album, it's literally different melodies going into different structures. At one point of the song, you're listening to something so trappy and hardcore, and then it just melts into something so groovy and like funkadelic, just layers upon layers on every single song. I don't know how to properly explain this to you guys, but it's not just a flat song. None of these songs are flat. I don't know how they do it. They've kind of mastered this because I don't feel like anybody else does it as well as N.E.R.D when it comes to producing, you know, these songs that kind of just groove and melt into one another. But they seem to do it, and they do it so well because you think a song is over and it's not. They just slap you with a whole nother beat and you're like, what the? Like, I'm not even kidding, guys. There's so many moments where I was listening to this album and my face was stuck on like stank face. Like, it was just like, My God, what? Oh, this is nasty. Like, in the best way possible. You know what I mean. Oh, and then let's get into the features because they've dug some of my favorite people out, okay? Starting with MIA, because she's been MIA for like the longest. I mean, she dropped an album out, I want to say last year-ish. I remember it coming out and it was okay. But her on this track, Kites, with Kendrick Lamar, whew, so good. So good. And then he's got Andre 3 Stacks on here, and you already know when you can get him, this is a genius. Like, Andre is not on our level, he's not on our playing field. Whenever you can get him on a track and you've already got Pharrell and Chad and Shay on a track, this is when genius meets genius, and it just makes brilliance. Okay, and then you also have another track with Kendrick Lamar. I really do love the tracks that they've blended with them and Kendrick Lamar. Like, if we could get an N.E.R.D and Kendrick Lamar album, that would be fire, and I would listen to it nonstop. But they've also got Gucci Mane on here, and I love his song with Wale called Voila. And then they also have Future, and of course, you know, Rihanna. Ed Sheeran's on here. It's just a whole bunch of good people, but it doesn't overpower what N.E.R.D is doing on the track. Let me not forget to mention that it's not just the melodies and the musical production of this album that make it so amazing. It's also the lyricism, because they are rapping and singing about such things as the Black Lives Matter movement and coming together and standing as a people and uniting. Like, this album, when you get to listening to it, is so moving, just motivating. Like, Voila starts off like this. Like, what? How awesome is the beginning of this song? Is it not alarm clock worthy or what? Oh, and then one of my favorite lyrics, hands down, on this whole entire album, it just stuck out the minute it was said and spoke to my soul, was on the track ESP Towards the End, where the whole melody switches up. Here we go.
It's what possessed the slave to look in the river. There he saw his true master. Fuckers a mister. He was always master. And so is the
amazing. Best line, hands down, drops mic, lean forward, forward, forward when they tell you lay back, lay back, lay back. Even that part is amazing, and I love the whole mantra of detach yourself, repack yourself, be-pack yourself, dream as yourself, be king as yourself, and lean forward, 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 no matter how many people are trying to pull you back. Oh, I love it. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I can honestly spend all day talking about this album. So I'm gonna play one of my favorites and list the others to the side, even though I don't have favorites, but we're just gonna do this like I do with all the rest of the albums, okay? Okay.
I began.
All right, guys, next on this musical roller coaster, we are going to talk. Hold on, let me stop myself right there, because saying musical roller coaster just reminded me of one of my favorite songs, Emotional Roller Coaster by Vivian Green. Am I the only one? Do you know what I'm talking about? Here. Open my eyes and realize that I was still being taken for a constant ride on you. I'm sorry, guys, I had to take it there. That is still one of my favorite songs, Vivian Green, Emotional Roller Coaster. You're welcome. back to the regular scheduled program. All right, sorry about that, guys. Where I was heading before I got sidetracked by my thoughts was going into our next album called Woosah by the artist Childish. And I've been waiting for this one for a while now because his track Supply of Love, produced by J. Cole, has been a favorite of mine for a couple of months now. All right, it's a short little album with 8 tracks, but it's well worth the listen. It's very chill. So far, I've tend to only listen and vibe out to it at night, but fuck around and get caught in your feelings because this album will do it to you. He has features on this album from the likes of Drum and Black to SZA and Isaiah Rashad, who I still feel like is downplayed because The Sun's Tirade is still my jam. I love that album. Don't know why not a lot of people talked about it. But anyway, Isaiah Rashad is the shit. Go check him out too if you don't know about him. Bing! Yeah, I make my own sounds too. Other than that, there's not really much to say about this album besides that I do like it and it's kind of melodic and stays in the same tone. Like I said, you'll want to vibe out to it like nighttime, or if you're just taking a ride, or if you want to listen to songs that'll put you in your feelings about a significant other, this album will do it for you. So as always, I am going to list a couple of my favorites right over here and play a track. Here we go.
This is not an I thing, it's a we thing. This is not an I thing, it's a green thing, the green thing. This is not an I thing, it's a we thing.
My favorite track on this album though has to be Woosah.
I need a like, bitch, I'm in the dirt. Bitches still want flirt. Me, I need a baby that's gonna pray and go to church.
Alright guys, last but not least, I may be a bit biased on this album because the artist is my brother-in-law, but hey, you are currently watching a video on music that I love, and I happen to love this album too. So let's get into it. This is Just Listen's newest album, G.S.M, which stands for God Save Me. It is a hip-hop gospel album. I hate putting labels on things because then people don't want to go give it a good listen because they think someone's going to be preaching to them the whole entire time. But that's not how it is at all. This album has 12 tracks and he's being completely honest on it the entire way through. He is, you know, rapping about trials and tribulations that he's been through and how he has changed and how the Lord has made him a better person and how he's basically, you know, done a 360 and changed his whole life around because of his faith in God. And it's just an amazing album. I need you to go and listen to it. I will say this is the first time that I've ever listened to a hip hop album that's gospel based, and now I need to change my entire view on how I listen to gospel music because it's honestly, it still gives you the good gospel vibes and the gospel feels, but at the same time, you can bob your head to it, and I'm not used to that at all, and I absolutely love it. A couple of my top favorites on this album are gonna have to be Great Escape and Make It to the Top. Oh, the breakdown on Make It to the Top is so tight, so tight.
Just let me make this clear. Hope you open up your ears. It's only one God and he's coming back. Best believe his time is near. Gotta make it to the top. Make it to the top. Let's go. Make it to the top. 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 Gotta make it to the top. Gotta make it to the top.
There's also a Love So Strong, which is a beautiful love song featuring Dre and Sam Goody, and the beat on this thing will make you want to slap somebody, but we're not, because that isn't godly. There is also G.S.M, which is my jam. Oh, and then the beginning of the song Right or Wrong is so true. I absolutely love the intro because he's stating all these different things that are making us money in this world, but they're killing us. Like the simple fact of the food we eat, straight up killing us, but it's making all this money. And wait, an even bigger O, shout out to Nikki, aka Kristen Faith. I knew when I saw that name on the track that it was gonna be you, for being a GSW and representing on your husband's album. Go ahead, go ahead. That's my sister, that's my sister. Love you, and I love you too, Justin. This album is awesome. Like, it's absolutely great. My people just make me so proud. So please, guys, go support my family. Download and stream this album. I believe it's on all formats. I know it's on Tidal because that's how I listen to it. It's also on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play. Just go give it a listen. And yeah, as I did with the 2 previous albums, I'm going to list a couple of my favorite tracks over here and play one in the background. Enjoy.
And lifetimes forevermore. Maybe we can be together. I'm just happy that you listened to the voice when you heard God say, we can be together. We can be good friends. Oh, we can make it last. A lifetime we never live, you know. We can be together. We can be good friends.
Alright guys, that wraps up this episode of Megan's Music Mondays. Please make sure that you comment below. Let me know, do you like these artists and albums as well? What are your favorite tracks? Also, do you have any music that you want me to cover for next week? Let me know below. And pretty please subscribe to our channel. Help us get to this 300. We are almost there. I'm so proud of all of you, and thanks for always watching and supporting our channel. And if you want to see any future Music Mondays to come, or Girl Talks, Wisdom Wednesday, all that good stuff that comes out weekly, you've got to subscribe, okay? Guys, I had so much fun in this episode. Sorry once again for the hiatus. You know, things happen, like Thanksgiving dinner that gets you lazy and in a fog. But we're not gonna go back down that street because your girl is back in the gym now. Yeah. Anyway, guys, have a great week. I will catch you next week on another episode of Megan's Music Mondays. Bye.